And it's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's Saturday night, and this is the Saturday edition of the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us and taking part in the festivities. How you doing, Virgil? That's a new name. Virgil Bowman? Maybe not. Maybe Virgil's been around a while. I don't know. It's one I haven't seen for a while, so good to see you. Thanks for coming on. If you're brand new, welcome. And if you're not brand new, welcome back. I don't know. But good to see you all. Thank you so much for joining us here on this Saturday version of the Paranormal Portal. It'll be commercial free, so unless we need a break, at which point I'll run a commercial or run a break. But there's no scheduled breaks as it stands. So I am, of course, here to bring you the best in paranormal entertainment that I'm physically capable of and emotionally and mentally capable of, for that matter. And the good news is I'm not doing it alone tonight. I have with me the big branch of my personal family tree himself, Mr. Sheldon Thomas. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, doing as well as I can, staying warm, staying hydrated, staying healthy. Hope you are too, and hope everyone is as well. Thank you for joining us.
Wow, you're hydrated. Good. That's good.
That's right.
What are you hydrated with? That's just, are you doing shots back there, or what's going on?
Just a lot of fat, you know.
It's all water weight.
Yeah, it's just all water weight.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, I'm hydrated too. I got my libation of choice, which is a calm, cool spring water. And yeah, we got a bunch of stuff to get through tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as we'll be going into the news.
1,574.
1,574. The ghost box is spitting out words already. 1574, 1,574. Not sure what that means. Again, don't know. Don't know what these weird voices mean that it spits out. But again, I guess I should bring that to your attention, ladies and gentlemen. Down here, just below Sheldon's face on your screen, how do I do that? Like that, I guess, is a ghost radar. And we've been running that lately here on the show just because strange things happen here on the show sometimes. And I just thought, well, it'd be kind of fun to see if anything gets triggered. Now, Disclaimer time. I'm not here to tell you that just because something appears on the ghost radar, you should believe that there's a ghostly presence around. But the mechanics of it are pretty simple. In every wireless device, they use a magnetometer. It's a very fixed range. It's a very narrow range of EM band that it uses. But if there's an EM anomaly, the concept is that it may be able to detect it, which many paranormal investigators believe that ghosts can be represented by strange EM anomalies or electromagnetic anomalies in the environment around them. So the concept is sound enough, I guess, but again, in and of itself, it's not indicative for sure of a presence, but it could indicate some anomaly going on that's interesting nonetheless. So you guys keep an eye on it. And again, to go through this, if it's on the top hemisphere of this radar, it's past the screen, just generally on the other side, back by the camera, and on the other side of my desk, which is a open area about 10 feet wide. And then if it's on the bottom half of the screen of this circle here, then it will be in my range here, right on my side of the desk. Last night I had a couple things pop up like right next to me, I guess. I don't know. I didn't physically feel anything, but the ghost radar thought something was here. So we'll keep an eye on that throughout the show. It's kind of maybe a little gimmicky, but it's also kind of fun. So we'll see what pops up, and maybe something will be relevant. Maybe other anomalies will correspond with that. Now, generally speaking, when you're investigating, you should always have multiple methods of detection, not just one, not just a ghost radar, like, oh, this is it. I found many ghosts in that building. Well, you found some EM anomalies, which could be any number of reasons. There are plenty of natural effects that can cause EM anomalies, as well as mechanical, electrical, etc. So just bear that in mind, but maybe it means something is close. We'll keep an eye on it. So I just want to put that out there with a full disclaimer. I'm not pretending to represent that I've got ghosts everywhere. Watch, they'll appear on the radar. That's not my objective. So just to put it out there. So maybe Yui the spirit talker. What? Maybe Yui. I don't know what you mean, Lewis. What's the spirit talker? But it does also spit out words just for reference. If you hear a word come out in a very robotic voice, I really have never found much correlation. Like 90% of what it spits out, I think, is just random. Something triggers it to spit out a word, but I don't know that it's a spirit trying to communicate. So I'm not a real big fan of that kind of stuff in ghost investigating, because I just think it kind of defies explanation. Like an ovulus, when you're ghost investigating with an ovulus is a device that spirits are allegedly able to use their energy and to spit out words. How do they learn how to do that? That's the part that confuses me. Is it just all spirits know how to trigger this exact device to say this exact word by using this exact frequency or pulse or whatever? And that to me just stretches credibility. Now, I will say that ovulus is sometimes spit out some incredibly accurate stuff, which is a little freaky. But anyway, you be the judge. I'm not here to tell you to believe or not believe anything, but it's just another aspect of the show. So that was a really long, drawn-out explanation, but I don't have to worry about commercial breaks because we're not doing any tonight. None scheduled anyway. So I guess, Sheldon, we should probably get to some news. What do you think?
My favorite part, I'm ready.
It's your favorite? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I learned all kinds of things from the news. Some I regret, some I love.
Some you regret. Some you could have gone your whole life without knowing, but there you go. That's the gift of the Paranormal Portal news. So let's see what we can dig into tonight. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the news. All right. Got a couple of comments in here. REM pods are expensive. They're supposed to be a spiritual proximity alarm. Yeah, I think that REM pods are very interesting, and I've seen some pretty incredible things firsthand with REM pods that may suggest EM anomalies as well, or at least something that's interacting with the EM field of that antenna. And they're almost like a theremin. You know, there's a musical instrument called a theremin, and you might be familiar with it if you watched, what the hell was it? Big Bang Theory, because Sheldon on that show played a theremin. He'd move this wand around and it would make sounds. Sheldon, is your beard growing? Are you wolfing out?
It seems to be.
My son, the Dogman, literally. He's got a German Shepherd over there, so just alarm barking. But, yeah, I think REM pods are great. And, yeah, I don't think I'll be reaching out to him, Lewis, but thanks for the suggestion. Never know. Let's see. Okay, so let's get to some news and find out just what I've curated for your enjoyment tonight. There's a couple new ones from Unexplained Mysteries, so let's start there and see just what I've dug up for you.
Yes.
Some of it I'm not even sure of. I'm like, that looks good. That looks good. No, I'm just kidding. I do look a little bit, but I don't know how long this one is. This one's really long. Well, we'll read a part of it anyway and just see what it says and discuss. Okay. So here is the first article tonight from unexplained-mysteries.com. Please support the site. Excellent site. They do great things over there. I love this site. I'm just sad we've gone through all the archives of good stories for the news. But yeah, there's just a ton of stuff over there. Does the existence of our universe suggest we live in a multiverse? Yes.
Yeah,
Done.
I would say so.
Done. That's it. That's my answer. Next article. No, I'm just kidding. Astrophysicist Martin Rees takes a renewed look at the question of whether or not we live in a universe of universes. And this is going to be long. So without all the fluffy stuff. Impending revolution. What is the extent of physical reality? We're confident that it's more extensive than the domain that astronomers can ever observe, even in principle. That domain is definitely finite. That's essentially because, like on our ocean, there's a horizon that we can't see beyond. And just as we don't think the ocean stops just beyond our horizon, we expect galaxies beyond the limit of our observable universe. In our accelerating universe, our remote descendants will also never be able to observe them. That's kind of, I don't know if that's good or kind of tragic, you know, like maybe it's because it's just not in the scope of our mental ability to retain all of that we'll never see it. But most physicists would agree that there are galaxies that can't ever be seen, and these outnumber the ones that we can observe. If they stretch far enough, then everything we could ever imagine happening may be repeating over and over, far beyond the horizon. We could all have avatars. That's kind of a creepy thought, isn't it? That we exist, like the us. There's like a clone or a rubber stamp of us in each of these universes that are doing any number of things. That's really kind of a mind melt, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think there is multiverse. What do you think, Sheldon?
Haven't scientists confirmed the theory in some way?
Well, they've confirmed dimensions, I think. Mathematically, they've confirmed dimensions, but a multiverse is kind of a theoretical thing because there's really no way to test that and to challenge it and provide repeatable results because it's a separate existence from the one we're in, you know?
Oh, right.
Right.
But one thing I did read is that they believe there are unlimited dimensions, apparently.
Oh,
that means there's unlimited possibilities, which means that I think it would confirm because unlimited possibilities mean it can be tested and developed and done in any number of times.
Right. Like, right. I think that's dimensions and yeah, I would imagine those are infinite as well. It's like one dimension is just this line, like it would be this infinitesimally thin line that has an existence. two dimensions, and this was actually oddly enough on a video that I just watched. I think it was posted to the Discord by one of our Discord people, but it says two dimensions is an infinite number of one dimensions stacked up. So that gives you length and width. And then three dimensions is an unlimited number of two dimensions stacked up. And so a fourth dimension would be an unlimited number of three dimensions piled up, into infinity. So, and it's still, there is a lot of people that say, well, the fourth dimension is time. But time is more of a measurement than it is a physical plane. And so I don't think that works out. And according to this prodigy, this kid that said this, and then he kind of disappeared, but he said that the fourth dimension is not time, but it's more like a tesseract, which we can't actually represent in 3D space, but there are computer models of what a tesseract may look like to some degree, but it's basically, all of these, length, width, depth joined together, in an infinite time, or so many, I don't know. I don't even know how to quantify what the guy said for sure, but I had a basic understanding of it when I watched it. So, but as far as I understand, mathematically, at least this is kind of old information, but I had heard at one point that they had mathematically verified that there are at least 11 dimensions, but I'm sure it's gone much beyond that now with more advanced computing and more advanced tools to run calculations against. But yeah, I mean, all kinds of multiverses. What if that, and this kind of came up last night when we were talking about deja vu with Maggie's question. What if sometimes deja vu is another version of ourselves that we're kind of somehow quantumly connected to, so that memory comes from them. They're in maybe a little different place in their life, but they remember that experience. So I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I've always wondered what deja vu was too, and that's one theory I heard about too. And it's like, could be. I've heard another theory is saying that could be you in a parallel dimension being at the exact same time, exact same place, exact same thought type of thing, that you're synced up basically, apparently.
Well, if you watch yesterday's question of the week, you will find out, or go to the Discord and read it, because it was really, really well done, and some fantastic input from our audience on Discord. And we'll get to Discord question of the week later. But so rather than read the extent of this huge thing, I think it's safe to say, yeah, we're in a multiverse.
Essentially, yes.
The end. All right, so let's go to the next article here on the News Festival of Fun. And this also comes from unexplained-mysteries.com. And God, I hope it's not a really long one again. I just saw that there was two new ones. I'm like, oh, good. Well, we can pull these out and talk about them. But no, this one's not too long at all. So this one comes from unexplained-mysteries.com, ladies and gentlemen. And this one is from Space and Astronomy. Efforts to obtain data on Interstellar Visitor plagued with difficulties. I wonder if they're talking about like the Oumuamua thing or what. Let's see. And it says, a meteor from another solar system landed on Earth back in 2014, but obtaining more information about it has proven challenging. It's now been over a year since the U.S. government officials confirmed that an object which exploded over Papua New Guinea 9 years ago actually originated from outside our solar system. Measuring at, what? I'm sorry?
No, I just said, whoa.
Yeah, right. Measuring at 0.45 meters across, this intriguing space rock hit our planet's atmosphere at 130,000 miles per hour. Oof. Could you imagine? What is that like? Given its trajectory and high speed, scientists argued at the time it's 99% certain that it came from the deep interior of a planetary system or a star in the thick disk of the Milky Way galaxy. Since the confirmation, however, it's been surprisingly difficult to obtain any additional information, primarily because some of the data was recorded by the same department responsible for tracking evidence of nuclear explosions and has thus been deemed classified. Why does it have to be classified? Unless they found new elements on that and they're like, ooh, this is really tough. We got to be able to recreate this. This will make a great tank. you know, because every new development becomes a weapon. Not that I'm absolutely against that, but it'd be nice if we could make maybe frames on cars that wouldn't, corrode and get destroyed by weather and stuff like that. I don't know. Just a thought. All right. It says last year, Motherboard submitted a number of Freedom of Information Act requests to various departments, as well as a request for further details from the Los Alamos National Laboratory. What followed was a succession of replies offering a little more than delay after delay. There's a shock.
Yeah.
Back in January, the laboratory claimed that the issue is with the program office. And then just this week, a further message stated that there have been a few difficulties that the NNSA's Los Alamos field office and or lab will have to work out. Boy, that's a little vague. Exactly what the holdup is remains unclear, as does any confirmation of when or even if the requested information will ever actually be provided. I'm going to go with probably not. National security. It's national security. They can't release that kind of stuff. It'd be just too dangerous to let us know. Could the lab be hiding something about the interstellar object that reached our planet back in 2014? Yes, obviously. They're hiding pretty much everything about it, as it turns out. So I think that's a question that answers itself. Or is the whole debacle purely down to administrative failings? The search for answers continues. Well, there you go. We still don't know anything about this, but something from another galaxy, I guess, hit our planet. So we got that going for us, or another solar system, whatever. It's 130,000 miles an hour. Oof. That's cooking, dude.
Unbelievable, yeah.
It almost amazes me they can even find the debris from things like that, because you know that had to have blew in the atmosphere, just like poof. I've seen that. I don't know. Do you remember that? I think you were with me. It was in a Walmart parking lot. Maybe it was before you. Maybe. But I remember being in a Walmart parking lot and looking up and seeing a shooting star go right overhead. And it was like way off in the horizon, but it was still very visible because it was just a trail of light. And then it's going, and all of a sudden, poof, it like burst into all these little trailings that just kind of fell away. And I was like, good God, where'd that land? But I never heard any more about it. So, I mean, I don't know how far that was. I mean, it could be in a different state by, just my perspective, because I'm looking at something up in the upper atmosphere and it's shooting off at a huge speed. So God only knows. It could have landed over on the East Coast. I'm in Minnesota, what do I know? But it did burst,
Yeah.
It really did. It was like, whoa, that thing superheated and exploded. So what was it?
Was this 9 years ago, perchance?
What is the correlation with 9 years ago? I'm missing it.
The story we read said it happened in 2014.
Oh,
Which would be 9 years ago.
No, I don't think it made it as far as Papua New Guinea, because that's on the other side of the planet. I don't think I would have observed that, but yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
I'm just saying, unless it really had some hang time, like a good NFL punt, but probably not. Where the hell's my mouse? There it is. Found my mouse. We're back on track. So we got some more news, of course, and the more news is it's coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. Okay, so this was another new one that I found. And ladies and gentlemen, good news is if you're looking for something to wear to the next Comic-Con, you might be in business. And a real exciting new revelation in development and technology, plus stylish and really breathtaking. What am I speaking of? Well, I'm talking about NASA's new Artemis Spacesuit has been officially revealed. Look at that. What the hell is it, a Power Ranger? Are you seeing it, Sheldon? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell's with that? It's like they're making Power Rangers here. What is it with the flare and all the styling and stuff? NASA has published images of the spacesuit that astronauts will be wearing when they next set foot on the moon. Ooh. That's pretty cool. Designed and built by Axiom Space, an Axiom Extravehicular Mobility Unit, or AX-EMU, will now be worn by the astronauts on the lunar surface during the Artemis 3 mission. Looks like something straight out of a science fiction movie. Thank you very much. I agree. It's like, really? Did they need that pointy little flare on the collar? Is that important? Anyway, I'm sure that cost about $300,000 just to put that in there. There's a good reason to do this too. The exterior aesthetics and logo were created by costume designer Esther Marquis, who worked on the suits for the TV series For All Mankind. Why? So we're going right to Hollywood. While the
Hollywood. Wow.
Yeah, woof. Like I said, Power Rangers were next. While the newly revealed spacesuit is mostly black in the initial promotional shots, the actual spacesuits worn during the mission will be traditional white color. Of course. Well, that's good. NASA's partnership with Axiom is critical to landing astronauts on the moon and continuing American leadership in space, said NASA Administrator Bill Nelson. Building on NASA's years of research and expertise, Axiom's next generation spacesuit will not only enable the first woman to walk on the moon, but they will also open opportunities for more people to explore and conduct science on the moon than ever before. Why? They're just going to make more of them or what? Our partnership is investing in America, supporting American workers, and demonstrating another example of America's technological ingenuity that will position NASA and the commercial space sector to compete and win in the 21st century. Wow. That was a little hype, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's like a promotion.
Yeah, look at that. That looks comfortable. You can almost wear it to bed, Sheldon.
I think you could.
Or Comic-Con. Any one of those. Yeah. What are you? I'm an astronaut. Could be an astronaut, ladies and gentlemen. And fine. That's good. I wonder why this is the suit that's going to make it possible for women to go to the moon. I mean, what's the drill here?
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Good point. Like, the differences.
Yeah. What is the actual difference here? I don't know. I don't see anything representing a uniquely female aspect or male aspect. It's kind of androgynous, really. But anyway, whatever the reason, apparently this is a step forward for all of mankind and America. So,
America, yeah.
In America. So we got that going for us.
Hey, did the radar say anything? We got a little movement.
We did get a blip. Nope, no words. Must have been something popped up briefly, but it's just still 1574 is the only thing it spit out so far. Right. So nothing new yet. Now we're going to go to some other stuff, and this other stuff is this. All right. If you have any young ones, please maybe mute this part and just watch.
Oh no.
I didn't know. I guess, sometimes we think that, boy, we've got so much more than anyone ever before had in the history of civilization. Well, maybe not. So if your little ones are out of the room now, please. Because we're going to go to this one, which is from Sky News. Thank you, Rachel. Roman sex toy discovered after experts re-examine 2,000-year-old wooden phallus found near Hadrian's Wall. What?
Wow.
An archaeologist who analyzed the phallus said it's nice to think Roman stationed near Hadrian's Wall were having fun, and it's not all dangerous barbarians or boredom while on patrol. What? Put that down, Jimmy. You know where that's been? I know where that's been. That's okay. A 2,000-year-old wooden object, initially thought to be a darning tool, has been reassessed by archaeologists who believe it may have been used as an adult toy in Roman times. The 6.5-inch wooden object is smooth at both ends, one of the only clues experts had about what it might have been used for. Dr. Rob Collins told Sky News. Well, there you go. Dr. Collins is a senior lecturer in archaeology at Newcastle University and worked alongside Dr. Rob Sands from the university's college in Dublin on analyzing the object. The question we found ourselves asking is, what sort of object shaped like a phallus would have a greater wear at both ends than in the middle? Dr. Collins said. One possible answer, an adult toy. Okay. Phallic imagery is all over the place in the Roman world, Dr. Collins said, and it was commonly believed to protect against bad luck. Art and literature from the time also reveals Romans used adult toys, but no life-size examples had been found before now. He looks like an adult toy, only smaller. The phallus was found in a ditch in 1992. I don't want to read this anymore. At Vindolanda, a Roman fort such as south of Hadrian's Wall, among thousands of other wooden objects, shoes, dress accessories, and leather offcuts. It was generally classified as a darning tool, which is used in sewing, I think. Dr. Collins said that it was likely because of the volume of items that had been found at Vindolanda and the pressure to conserve them before they started to decompose. But when we examined the objects, it was pretty clear right away that this was a phallus. It looks like a toy, he said. The question is, why? For what reason? I can think of a few, I guess. It's not possible to say for certain the phallus is a toy, but Dr. Collins said he would like to think it is. I bet he would. This would be the first of its kind, and that's always exciting, he said. And also, if it's an implement, it would be nice to think that, maybe there are people having fun up here on the frontier, and it's not all dangerous barbarians or boredom while on patrol.
Sure.
There's more, but wait, there's more. The archaeologists came up with two other possibilities for what the object could be, and which were laid out in a paper published in the journal Antiquity. If not a toy, the phallus may have been slotted into a statue, which passerbys would touch for luck. Ooh. And why did that empire fall? I don't understand. Or it was used as a pestle. Honey, grab the phallus. I have to ground some herbs. Used to grind food, medicine, or cosmetics with the idea that the protective properties of the phallus would be transferred to the ingredients in the process. The phallus is now on display in the Vindolanda Museum. Oh, my God. Yeah. That's a first for the portal. I don't know. Maybe those statues are actually are accurate. Why?
I mean, I'm with Chucky.
I can't even imagine.
The split.
What does Chucky say? I can't even imagine.
The splinter factor of it all. Can't imagine dealing with that. Nah, no scenario.
Well, maybe it was then adorned in like some sheepskin or something, or a brat casing or something. I don't know what the hell's going on. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I just can only say I'm sorry.
It's like I said earlier, some things I just don't need to know.
Yeah, there's some things that should probably be just left to history, and that might be one of the big ones. Here's one from Sky News that. You have an ex that you're really not real fond of? Well, Valentine's is past, but for next year, this might be on your shopping list. And what is it, you may ask? Well, Sky News reports that Valentine's Day Animal Shelter offering a chance to have an ex's name written in a cat's litter box to reveal list. Oh, so if you have an ex you're not really proud of or is getting under your skin, well, symbolically, you can give them what they deserve. Ohio's Animal Friends Humane Society has been encouraging jilted lovers not to spend Valentine's Day down in the dumps, but to pay a unique tribute to a former partner, and all for a small donation. There's a cat in the litter pan. An animal shelter offering donors the chance to have their ex's name written in the litter box is to reveal the list of former lovers tomorrow on Valentine's Day. I just can't imagine. Ohio's Animal Friends Humane Society has offered the unique tribute for just $5 contribution with the litter box to be passed to cats to let them do what they do best, according to its website. Well, there you go. Yep, that's a quick way to honor an old love.
There you go.
Yep, you can only hear that stuff here, folks. You can't even make this stuff up. But it's actually clever. I think that's pretty smart. That's one way to probably raise donations. They probably had record donations during that time.
Think about it. There's no shortage of bad exes, so it gives people some helpful closure in that way.
Yeah, I'm a little familiar with that. But yeah, there you go. There you have it, folks. That's one way to honor the former loves of your life. And that's going to wrap it up for the news. So I hope you guys feel like you're better informed than you were. Hopefully you listened to this and you've learned things you never knew before. And I'm both sorry and you're welcome.
Indeed.
Let's get back to the rest of the show. I'll tell you what, that was a heck of a news brief there, wasn't it?
That sure was, packed full of different levels of excitement and
disappointment. And disappointments. I don't know. I there's one allegedly right over there on the other side of the desk. So.
Oh, that's what that sound was. Oh my God.
You heard that?
I heard that and I was like, what is that?
That's the ghost. That when it's a more potent energy, it's supposed to alarm like that, like, which is about the creepiest damn sound they could have possibly come up with. It's like right in my ears. Yeah, I mean, it just goes right into your head. It's like, nah, what the hell is that? But it's the ghost radar. So, is it a ghost? Well, maybe. Maybe it's just some weird thing. Maybe somebody started a blender or something next door. I don't know. Could be though, but we'll just keep watching it. Yeah. So there we go. All right. What do we got cooking now, Sheldon? What do you think?
I think it's time
for
the questions of the week.
The Discord questions of the week, in fact. Let's do that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Discord question of the week, where we unpack all things Discord here on the show. And in fact, we have a Discord server if you're not familiar with it. Sheldon has pasted a link in the chat if you would want to come and join the discussions over there. That would be phenomenal. And there's a bunch of wonderful people contributing all the time, talking about the different phenomena and stuff. So it's just a phenomenal gathering and group over there. How you doing, James? Good to see you. James Fredke, good to meet you. I don't think we've met before, but thanks for stopping in. It's good to see you here. Hope you're enjoying yourself, and hope you're not too disappointed. hope you missed the news, but there's just some weirdness here on the show. But we in this Discord community, what we do is before the live shows, I pose, or Sheldon poses, or we get a suggestion for a question to be posed to our Discord community to weigh in. We, oftentimes throughout the course of the show, you'll hear my opinion, you'll hear Sheldon's or Don's if he's here, but we don't oftentimes get to hear yours. And so this is a chance for you guys to weigh in on the different phenomena that we post about. And we post about everything from cryptids, UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, etc. So we really try to cover the gambit and the full spectrum. And you guys have had great ideas and reflections on this different phenomena. And it's actually helped me a ton, because I'll tell you, the reason I started doing this show and the podcast as well is because I want to understand what the hell's going on with this stuff. I really do. I don't know if that's possible, but I have a lot of working theories, a lot of working ideas about some of this phenomena. And you guys have pointed out things that I may never have thought of. And I think that that's exciting and it's phenomenal. So I love this part of the show. I love that you guys are weighing in, sharing what you think. And remember, there's no wrong answers. There's no stupid answers, because nobody knows any of this stuff. Nobody knows. There's lots of ideas. There's lots of theories. But at the end of the day, nobody knows what's going on. What is the ghost doing? Why is it lingering in a closet? What is the strange lights in the sky? You know, what are those creatures running around the woods? What's their objective? We don't really know. And so this is an idea that we just put it out there to hear what you guys have to say. And it's been, again, I'm just loving it. So on the screen right now is the Discord server. And over here you see the server list on the very left pane. And right here is the Paranormal Portal. So if you join the Paranormal Portal Discord, you're going to end up right here in the general, and it'll say, hey, somebody else just joined. It'll let everybody know so people can welcome you into the Discord, as well as, you know, people's thoughts and posts of general stuff. And then there's discussion threads over here. And if you're new to Discord, we do have a tutorial section right here. You can just click on this, and this will walk you through some tutorials of how to use Discord, which for some people has been really daunting, but once you figure it out, it's really not too bad at all. It's just unusual. So it takes you a minute to figure out where stuff is. But here's the questions of the week. But we also have Bigfoot, Dogman, ghost, UFO, extraterrestrial encounters, cryptids, strange phenomena. There's voice chats down here. If you want to talk to each other in person, you're welcome to do that as well. But for the sake of this segment, we're focusing on the questions of the week. And so, Sheldon, would you be so kind as to read the question of the week and the answers?
Absolutely. So, for today's question of the week for Friday or Saturday's show, I should say.
You should.
Let's see. On Friday's show, we covered this of a story of not deer from Phantoms and Monsters. These are what appear to be deer, but are witnessed walking and running bipedally. Do you think these are distinct cryptid, or is there something else going on here, like a shapeshifter or skinwalker type incident, or are these just rarely encountered and reported, but are natural creatures of our world? First responder Comet Man says skinwalker, or worse, the Wendigo or Rougarou.
Mm-hmm. Good thoughts. Could be.
Yep. Yeah. Brown Dwarf says, greetings, Brent. I missed the show and we'll check it out, but I've been seeing more videos and we'll hear a lot about these not deer or spicy deer. In my opinion, I would say shapeshifter, possibly, but possessed for sure. Cheers.
How about that? Possessed deer. That's an interesting take. I hadn't really considered that. Thank you, Brown Dwarf. That's a cool take. Could animals become possessed? And why not? So I guess that's possible. Okay.
Yeah. Next responder, Celtic Warrior, says, I was responding to Comet Man. I was thinking the other one, but I was thinking of, was the Wendigo as well, besides the Skinwalker?
Yeah, could very well be. Okay.
Fourth Color says, needs a better name than not deer, in my opinion. It's like how most friends won't take the Dogman seriously based upon the name alone.
Oh, yeah. I'm not real fond of not deer either. I don't know where that comes from. The only place I've seen that used is on Phantoms and Monsters. And I mean, they are not deer in the traditional sense, but they look like deer. So are they, maybe kind of deer would be better? Or, I don't know.
Kind of deer.
I'm just kidding, but not deer is kind of an unusual name. It feels awkward. I don't know what else to call it though, but that's the first time I've seen it named. So,
yeah. I wouldn't mind a brainstorm on what should be called at least.
Yeah, like we're going to be the official namers here on the Paranormal Portal. Let's have a committee, and we'll come up with the new name, and then we'll send out emails to all these other groups so they can call them the right name. That's a good idea.
That's right. Yeah. Next responder, Chad Votal, I believe. Votal. Says shapeshifter or skinwalkers are both able to change appearances, so who really knows what they are? I do know that there are things in this world that exist that most would call sci-fi. But truth of the matter is we share this world with others. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and Chad's been following the YouTube show for a long time. He's a regular commenter on the episodes, but he just joined the Discord, I think today. So it was good to see him join in. Good to have you there, Chad. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, next is Spicy Blue saying, I know I missed the deja vu question of the week last night, but I have a weird one. You can share it or skip it.
Sure.
I used to have why not? I used to have deja vu experiences pretty often, and then I noticed I was not having them as much. In my head, I just asked the question, why am I not having deja vu anymore? And immediately I heard back, you've never made it this far before. I was freaked out by this, realizing that it meant I've had repeats. So I asked when I passed and heard 2012. When I started thinking back to this time, I was having some extraordinary health issues and would not be surprised if I did pass during this time. Oh, no. I believe we do have a life plan, but it's important enough that we can be put back on it.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I never considered that before. Like maybe it's a do-over, and that's where the deja vu comes from. Because whereas it's supposed to be a memory wipe until we complete this leg of our journey, what if we had to repeat it? No, you screwed it up. Come on, we're gonna eject you and put you back in, and we'll try again. You know, what if it's like that? And that's an interesting take. I never really considered that possibility. And it doesn't negate the idea that there could be things like reincarnation and such, but it just says there could be reincarnation, but first you got to get this right. You know, this is your job for this leg of your journey. So it's an interesting take. You never made it this far. Wow. That's deep.
Oh, that's really deep. Wow. I hope everything's okay, Spicy, but I really do. I hope
of course.
You get through that great. But that very good response. I like that. Next is Chucky Danger saying, I think that these things are hybrid descendants of the Nephilim. They are emaciated and always hungry. They wear the hides of deer and moose. They mimic the voices of their last victims to lure in new prey. Be cautious of familiar voices coming from the dark woods.
Yeah.
And that's actually something I've heard as well.
Yeah, that sounds more like the Wendigo is what he's saying, but yeah, and which may be something of the Nephilim, but that's because the Wendigo classical description, it's either a possessing spirit or it's an emaciated creature that looks like its skin is just hanging on a skeleton. It doesn't look like it has any substance, muscularly, and they look just rotten. And they're by those descriptions, they're absolutely terrifying. So could that be an offshoot of the Nephilim? Sure. I mean, why not? I don't pretend to know, but that's a good take. So
future.
Yeah, the word future got spit out. Okay. So
I did see that there's some big activity around you. Interesting.
Yeah, there was. I didn't hear the alarm go off, but 2 spirits within 25 yards, it says. Huh. Well,
they were green, though. I will say that.
Oh, they were. Okay. I didn't see the actual radar of it, but yeah, cool. All right.
Wow. Okay. All right. Last responder is Rachel 101 saying it could be a skinwalker, as they're sometimes described as having deer humanoid features, such as human eyes, or in some instances, it could be a deer that is unfortunately diseased in some way. There is a disease called fibromus.
I guess so.
Fibromus, caused by a species-specific virus that causes wart growths on white-tailed deer.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. It's horrible. I've seen pictures of that.
Yeah. Okay. it could cause a person to see that to think the deer is not a deer. We've seen a video of a bear with damaged front paw walking upright. Could be a deer whose two front legs are injured by a predator such as coyote. The injuries causing the deer to walk on its hind legs, probably unlikely, as it wouldn't survive long. But in some witnesses' sightings, where it is walking upright and appears more human, the deer doesn't appear injured. These creatures could be some rare cryptid that is created by the spiritual essence of the forest itself, maybe a guardian or a manifestation of the intelligence that the woods created, like a tulpa, taking both images of the deer who live in the forest and then one of the more dangerous predators that enter the forest, man.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, great responses. And hello, Jeff Clegg. Good to see you. That's a new name as well. The phone number.
Welcome.
The phone number, it'll be on the screen shortly, but it's, did somebody give him the phone number? Because he's asking.
Oh,
720-923-0500 is the number. It'll be on the regular screen here in a minute. But first, let's close out questions of the week. Thank you to everybody that participated.
Yeah.
And again, please, by all means, if you have something to add or you want to be a part of these discussions, love to have you over there. Everybody's welcome. It's really well moderated. There's not any abusive stuff going on there. Everybody's really been on their best behavior. It's been really nice. So, and there's wonderful people over there. So it's kind of a continuation of our chat in a lot of ways. Good to see Batman again too. Thanks for coming. I haven't seen you for a while, brother. Thanks for coming back
Batman.
in. Batman is here. So
Welcome back.
yeah, welcome back. It's been a while, but we missed you, but glad you made it back. So this has been the Discord question of the week. All right, folks, we are back at it, and there's lots more to come. We do have a phone call now, so I guess we should get to that. And this is area code 785. You're on the air. Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
This is Maya.
Hi, Maya. How are
Hey,
you?
how's it
Maya.
going today?
Good to hear from you. How was things?
I'm feeling really chatty this evening, so I was like, I know I want to call in if they take calls tonight. So I'm really glad I was able to call in tonight.
Nice. Good. Welcome in.
Great to hear from you.
So I have a couple of thank you. It's good to connect with you guys. I actually have two really, really short stories
Oh, please.
that are UFO related.
Okay.
That I thought might be interesting, because most of my super long stories are about spiritual and supernatural stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I do have a few UFO things.
Oh, fantastic. I'd love to hear them.
So, yeah, so the first thing happened probably 12 years ago, and I was living out on the Kansas prairie, literally out in the middle of nowhere in a little cabin.
Okay.
And just spending lots of time connecting with the earth. And what I found really fascinating was living out there actually connected me, of course, with the earth, but actually even more with like the interplanetary energies.
Oh, wow.
And there was this one time I sat down in bed, I looked to my right out the window before I laid back in bed, and I was like, oh, I wonder if there's a storm on the horizon, because it looked like over the hill there was all this lightning, because there was like a flashing, like this constant flashing light, like across the way over the hill. But it wasn't like a constant lightning storm. It was probably a UFO.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't know for sure. You know, I was like,
Sure.
oh, is it like a summer storm or like lightning pulsating over there? And it wasn't way up in the sky. It was down. Like I could see it right happening right over the hill. But I wasn't scared. I didn't think anything of it. And I just laid back in bed, pulled the covers over me, and tried to go to sleep. And then as I drifted off to sleep, I kind of had this weird feeling, and I don't even know how to put it into words, almost like if anyone has astral traveled before, where you just kind of feel out of body. I don't know how to describe it.
Okay.
And but I wasn't seeing anything. I wasn't seeing the inside of a spaceship or anything like that. But I was feeling odd. That's all that I can say. I was feeling different. And then at a certain point in my mostly asleep state, I realized I have to pee. So I need to get up and go to the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
But here's where it got really weird was I knew that I had to get up to go to the bathroom, but I couldn't get my body to move. It was like there was a disconnect.
Uh-oh.
And so I had to focus my effort. And then as I was focusing my effort, I opened my eyes, and what I saw was outer space.
Oh, wow. Oof.
And then in the next moment, I was in my back in my body, and I then got up and walked to the bathroom, and I was all wobbly, and I was like, what just happened? I do not know what that was.
That's
and I
wild.
wasn't on any substances or anything,
Sure.
but it was definitely a weird experience. I can't be sure of what happened,
Right.
but it seemed to me as I put two and two together, I thought, you know what? I bet that wasn't lightning over that hill.
Right.
I bet that was something else. And then it flew back up, and then and I have heard stories. Now, I haven't had a lot of UFO or abduction experiences, or like some people, but I've heard people say that sometimes it's a physical experience where they're actually physically on a ship, but other times it's more of an astral experience, which that's what it seemed like to me.
Now, I have a question for you about that, because in a lot of abduction scenarios or scenarios like that, people are it's almost like sleep paralysis. They can't move. And it's like it's like that's being projected from these other intelligences, making it so the person is isolated and can't squirm about or whatever. Now, do you think that could have been done on you, but maybe due to your proficiency in projecting and meditation and all the energy work you do, that you were able to push past that and get back to where you should be? Or what is your take on that?
Or it could have been just that I really had to pee. I don't know.
Overruled.
Physical body was saying, you have to move.
Okay.
I don't know that it was proficiency. I mean, I do think there are some other things that I've experienced that probably were due to being gifted in certain ways. But I didn't feel that with this.
Okay.
Interestingly, I also didn't feel scared. That doesn't mean that absolutely nothing negative happened. I just didn't have any awareness of anything negative.
Okay, I got you.
It was just an odd experience. Yeah, just different.
Wow.
And I have I have a really short story to tell that's more recent.
Okay. That's all right.
If that's okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to hear it.
Okay. Yeah, so I live in southern Arizona now, and I moved here about 3.5 years ago, and at the time I was living in Tucson. Now I'm further south, but when I was living in Tucson, I would go to the state parks pretty frequently. I would go to Catalina State Park, it's got a big mountain range that I would just gaze at. I would just meditate, and I would journal, and I would just get spiritual messages. I really had a connection with that mountain range. And then I had similar experiences at Saguaro East State Park, which is a different terrain, but it's still the natural energy of that area. Both locations, I had this happen multiple times, where I would just be kind of zoning out, looking out at the sky. Like, I wasn't looking for UFOs. I was just like, I wonder what I'm going to have for lunch. Like, random thought.
Uh-huh.
And out of the corner of my eye, it was always out of the corner of my eye in my peripheral vision, I would see a silver disc spaceship over the mountain of wherever I was sitting. And then I would turn and I would look right at it and I wouldn't see it. And this would always happen out of my peripheral vision. And then at one point, I think I can't remember where I heard or read this, but at some point I saw some random factoid about UFOs that said that when they are cloaked, the cloaking mechanism works in such a way that when you look directly at it, it's cloaked and you don't see it. But a lot of people are able to see it out of their peripheral vision.
Wow.
And it was always silver discs. It was never any other shape or any other type. It was always silver discs.
I find that really interesting because a lot of hauntings start with people seeing shadows out of the corner of their eye, I think it has maybe to do with the type of vision that our eye has, where rods versus cones. Like when you're looking directly at something, you're using a part of the iris and such that has more like rod shapes, and it's for detail and all of that. But on the peripheral visions, it's these cones, which are way more sensitive to changes in light and such. And so I find that really interesting that that's like a correlation. I hadn't heard that in relation to UFOs before, but I think that's profound.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool story. It would be interesting to hear if anyone else has ever had that experience with the seeing out of their peripheral vision, either spirits or UFOs.
Yeah, absolutely. And if any of you out there are listening have anything to share on that, I'd love to hear from you as well. But yeah, I think that's amazing. I'm going to definitely look into that more, because there's got to be something to it that two of these phenomena dealing with the unknown or the paranormal have so much to do with the peripheral awareness, but not directly looking. It's like they see the shadow people, they turn and look and nothing's there. Well, it's a different function of the eye, apparently, when you're looking straight at something versus the peripheral awareness of it. So that's really interesting.
Well, and maybe it's easier to see things that are in a slightly different dimension or between dimensions.
Right. Yeah.
Out of our peripheral vision, there's like you were saying, there's something biological about it.
Yes. Yeah.
About how our eyes are constructed. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Fascinating.
Wow. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to catch more of Maya, you can find her on the current episode of the podcast. She and I got together and had a long talk about jinn and about demons and about spirituality and protection and just had a great conversation. So you can find that wherever you find the Paranormal Portal, including here on YouTube. So
fantastic.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Thanks, guys.
It's so wonderful to hear from you. Thank you so much for calling in.
Have a great night, everybody.
Okay. Good night, Maya. Take care.
Well, good night, Maya.
Thanks. Bye.
That's cool.
And that's the thing too is you got a spike.
Oh yeah, it's a little bit old, but yeah.
Oh,
by the time it's in the middle of the screen, it's been maybe 30 seconds. So. Oh well. But anyway, what were you gonna say?
Interesting that that is the case too. Like whenever I see shadow people, it's always the corner of my eye. Yes. Never is it when I'm looking at it. It's always the corner peripherally.
Which is probably good.
It's probably a good thing to be
because
honest.
If you looked over and then saw it, it'd be like, yeah, So it's
like,
nice that they disappear when you look directly at them, because they're kind of creepy. I don't know that it's always a negative thing. I don't necessarily think so. I think spirits can appear how they want to, and maybe they choose a dark form just to not alarm people, but it's still in that peripheral. It's just like, yeah, what was that?
The thing is, there's usually when I have seen them, like in the past few weeks, there's one incident that was like actually really intimidating for me. Oh, that was I don't know if I told you or not. Actually, this might be new.
Sounds new.
But I've been seeing shadow people the past probably month, just once in a while consistently just, right past the door or anything like that. But this recent one was interesting. It was when I was heading to bed at night, and my bed kind of lines up towards the door. Not quite, but it's like a little to the left, like where I'm facing this way, and the door's right here.
Okay.
So I was on the phone just kind of getting ready, getting sleepy, getting ready to drift off type of thing. And I was on my phone, and in the doorway, I saw like this. It was a silhouette, complete black silhouette, that like it was as if they walked and then turned into my doorway.
Just a look.
And yeah, they were looking right at me. It was a she. It looked like it, and she had like curly hair, shorter, like right just at her shoulder neckline type of thing.
Okay.
And like in that split second, I freaked out, looked at, and it was gone. Obviously, like right then, right as it looked, and yeah, that was the end of the incident. But
did it have a vibe? Like, did you get a gut feeling like, or was it more benign?
I didn't. I actually didn't have any feeling about it.
Okay, well,
so
that's good.
It was benign, but it's like, yeah, man, that's the way to introduce yourself, isn't it?
Yeah. next time, send an email.
Yeah. Let me know you're coming over first, all right?
Jeez, knock or something, whatever. Yeah. No, I think that if we're in the vicinity of dark, really dark things, you're going to get a gut feeling. A lot of people will anyway. Not everybody, but I think a lot of people are sensitive to that. It's like, everybody's been in those situations where it's like, I don't like the way it feels here. I don't know what it is. I just don't want to be here. Let's go. And I think that could be just a high electromagnetic field, because that's high EMF can have that effect on you, just make you feel really uncomfortable. But if spirits really are represented as EM fields, then it makes sense. If, maybe the darker they are, the more of a potent EM field it has. I don't know, but very weird. But yeah, well, just keep me posted on that, because we should stay on top of that just to make sure. So,
I mean, I will be honest. It was one of those things where I kind of waited to see how it felt. I said, no, it's time to leave. You need to go, because it actually freaked me out like bad. I jolted, dropped my phone. I'm like, oh, okay, no, it's time to leave. I don't care who you are. It's time to go.
It doesn't matter if you.
So I didn't wait to say, how do you, I really didn't get a chance, but I didn't feel anything after I said leave. So I mean, it's hard to say though,
Yeah. I mean, it's good to make those statements. I think that 90% of the time, if you make those statements, most spirits aren't trying to cause problems. They're just there, and they're maybe curious or whatever. So if you say, hey, knock it off, get out of my door, do not do that again, then, I think that for the most part it's respected. And if it isn't, then you got bigger problems. So
that's true. If they respect it, it's probably a good sign, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, we got another call here. Let's get to this. And this is area code 318. You're on the air.
Hi, Brent.
Hi.
I'm Jeff from.
Hi, Jeff from the chat. Good to have you.
Hey, Jeff.
Good to hear from you. Thanks for calling in.
Well, thank you. I've been listening for about 2 months. The reason I'm calling in tonight is pretty simple.
Okay.
I've been thinking about teaching a special topics class in writing about the paranormal. And I've kind of stumbled into a problem. So I figured I'd put this up to you as well as the chat to see and help kind of mold this idea.
Okay.
Is there a difference between folklore and the paranormal? And if there's not, how do they blend into each other?
Okay.
So just to go off my thinking really quickly.
Okay.
Folklore tends to be hyper-localized.
Mm-hmm.
Specific region, the country or whatever part of the country you're in or any country involved. But paranormal seems to be more global in aspect. When we talk about the paranormal, we're talking about commonalities rather than that's a little bit different per place.
Sure.
Do we differentiate these two when we talk about them?
Uh-huh.
And if not, do we still devalue folklore in favor of thinking about paranormal topics.
Okay, here's my initial take on it. Folklore is regional because it's people's regional attempts to define a phenomena. Case in point, the Bigfoot phenomena. There were regional wild men, there were wood boogers, there were skunk apes, there were grassmen. All these different names, including tribal names, were basically their local folklore because that was their attempt to describe these things that were going on. And it wasn't until a unified term emerged where, from the 1950s, from the newspaper, where it's like Bigfoot with a picture of a print. And it was like, we've got those here. Well, now there was a unifying term to make it a global phenomena to the Yeren, the Yowie, the Almas, the Grogok, the Woodwos, all of these different names from local folklores suddenly had a universal identifier. So it created an awareness that, look, Momo isn't just here in Missouri. They've got things like this everywhere. And there are distinctions, but by and large, these phenomena are really consistent across the globe. So folklore, I don't think, is separate. It's just regional attempts to explain a phenomena, like banshees, perhaps in Irish folklore, becoming, wraiths or specters or ghouls or, all these, maybe not ghouls because those were allegedly a physical thing. But so I don't think that they're differentiated in a large sense. But I think you have to recognize that the folklore is a local definition for a phenomena that they didn't have the unifying awareness of, as occurring other places. Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense and really helps kind of frame.
Okay. Well,
what I'm thinking about and how to work with students and thinking about these on greater aspects rather than differentiating the two.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much. I mean, that's honestly like a great answer.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm glad to help. Yeah, and anytime, man, just let us know and keep an eye in chat too. I'm sure that people have other input that may help you as well. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate it, brother. I'm honored to be a part of your process, and I appreciate that you called in to ask.
Yeah, well, we barely ever talk when we do this. We look more on the folklore side because it's an established field of study.
Yeah.
But for what I do in English, we don't have the paranormal side.
Yeah.
It's usually in psychology.
Okay. Yeah.
But looking through the chat, I see a lot of great answers, and I want to thank all of you so much for helping out. I'll shut up and thank you again.
No, thank you for calling in, Jeff.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to talk to you, brother. Thank you so much. And if you have any other questions that maybe you need our input on, please feel free to pose them. I'd love to take part in your process.
All right, have a great night.
All right, you as well. Thank you.
Take care, Jeff.
That's cool.
I mean, that's a question I would pose to you. A further question on that is, are there any folklore that you've heard that you're not sure it was actually like mystical, magical type of thing, so to speak, and more of a phenomenon they just didn't understand yet?
Well, I mean, there's some very regional paranormal supernatural activity, like the Dover Demon. It's just these weird one-offs, or the what is it, the Loveland Frog people or Frogman. There's these one-offs that pop up that are really confusing to me because they don't really have a global counterpart that I can tell. There may be that, if they would be potentially, little people, what are those little puckwudgies or something like that? Maybe somebody saw a puckwudgie, this diminutive thing, and thought, oh, that looks like this. And they just misidentified and were misrepresenting the phenomena. But there are these one-off things that seem to be very physical creatures that just pop up and then they just are gone. And they maybe only have a very short life cycle. Now, I will say that another part of folklore, Jeff, if you're still listening, that needs to be taken into consideration is the power of belief. And if you look into things like tulpas and stuff, can some of the phenomena be by people's belief in a folklore, does that give it a reality? does it get a consciousness, or does it get a manifestation because of a group or body of people of believing in something? And so therefore it can be manifest in some supernatural or metaphysical or quantum physics kind of manner.
Oatmeal.
Oatmeal. Is it oatmeal? Let me see what that said. And so, it says oatmeal. Again, what the hell does that have to do with it? But, I think that Tulpa's thought forms, projections, when you look at the poltergeist phenomena, for instance, a lot of parapsychologists would say, well, that's being projected by somebody, usually a prepubescent or prepubescent girl, but not exclusively. But that kind of activity is very profound and very short-lived. But it's often believed to be some subconscious or psychokinetic projection from a living person. So that does also verify and maybe validate the whole idea of people projecting a reality based on common belief. And so that's the other part of folklore, that even if it is something that exists in one area, maybe it really does exist in one area because enough people believe that it's real, so it becomes manifest in some form in the fabric of our reality. And so, again, it's just another take, but just some Quaker Oats advertising from beyond. Yeah. It seems to be. So I think thought forms and tulpas and things are also a consideration, as well as subconscious projections can validate phenomena. It's such a soup of possibility, and that's the interesting part of all of this. So, but yeah, I'm honored that he called in. That was really cool, just to get an idea. But folklore and global phenomena, I don't think are unique of each other. It's just local, regional explanations for a phenomena that for this community hasn't been identified. So they build a narrative, of understanding. It's kind of human nature to want to be able to understand things. It's something that we just do. So
I think that's important too, is kind of like you're saying, like one-offs are more of a questionable thing, but things that have stories or some sort of value to people in completely different cultures and a history of seeing these things just called different names, I think that's a verifiable thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, thanks again for calling in and sharing your thoughts. It's really cool. And I appreciate that you came here with a willingness to hear people's takes on it. That's really cool. And that's the power of the community, that we can share ideas and maybe come up with understandings, or at least, concepts, at the very least, just concepts to what some of this stuff is. So very cool. I think therefore I am exactly Wonder Woman. Yeah.
Target Danger says, what if the Frogman is just a reptilian sighting?
Could be, yeah. And that's the other part of it. It's like, well, what if it is UFO reptilian sighting and it just, that one looked like a frog, versus a lizard.
Yeah.
And that's a great take. I mean, these are, anytime people are experiencing these things, you have to understand you're working in a really adrenalized state, because you're seeing something that's never been seen by you before. And it's so far outside of the paradigm that we're used to that it just becomes an instant, what the hell is that? And then, there's memory, everybody has different abilities to recall situations clearly based on the shock, the trauma that they were in at the time of seeing this and trying to come to terms with it. So the psychological strain is profound. And that's another take of it too. So yeah. Yeah, good points. Good points all. All right. We got a lot more show to get to, and only about 40 minutes left to get to it. So
Oh boy.
The portal just keeps churning. We just keep churning forward. But I guess we should get to more stuff, huh, Sheldon?
I think we should.
Here's actually an article that I pulled up, and it's from Phantoms and Monsters, but it's a newer one that I just came out today. And I was like, oh, this kind of ties in with some of the other stuff we were talking about with parallel universes. So this is a strange phenomena, and I don't know. This one I've not read the context of it, but I think that when people experience time slips or especially time slips, it's like looking into a different reality. You're looking at a different timeline or whatever. And so I'm kind of interested to see what this article has to say. So again, from Phantoms and Monsters, please support Lon and what he's doing over there, ladies and gentlemen. There's tons of great, witness experiences that you can read through and follow reports on specific phenomena like Dogman, the Mothman, and so many more Fortean topics. Lon is an accomplished published author who has several books under his belt. They're all linked on the Phantoms and Monsters site, as well as his podcast, Phantoms and Monsters Podcast. So check that out as well. But this article comes from Saturday, March 18th, 2023. And, okay. Got a Mrs. Portal messaged me. I'll have to check on that. But this one is beautiful parallel universe experience recalled by relatives 20 years later. This is interesting. So I thought we better read that. Did 3 Northwest Florida kids experience a trip into another dimension or a parallel universe? They say that they were taken to a beautiful castle deep in the woods by 2 teenagers. Me and my cousin and my aunt were all outside on the front porch playing, and we were all the same age, around 4 or 5. 2 teenagers approached us and asked us if we wanted to see a castle. Well, I knew this was bad news, but my cousin had to go see it, so we both agreed to follow. We went into the woods and walked along a trail for what felt like an eternity. Probably 20 minutes or so, realistically. Yeah, 20 minutes for a 5-year-old is forever. You could just go on a car ride. You'll see what I mean. We arrived to find a beautiful, gleaming, majestic castle in the distance. And I'm talking about something you would just see in the movies. This place was made of heaven. It literally shined as if we entered a city of wealth. Well, we excitedly looked at each other and sprinted home to tell our parents. The teenagers stayed behind, never chased or followed. Our run back was instantaneous, as if it took a few seconds compared to the walk there. We go and tell my mom, and obviously she's freaked out and tells us no more playing outside for the day. Here's the thing. My mom was so incredibly strict with me that she would never let me out of her sight for longer than a minute. The door to the front porch was open, so there was no way 2 random teenagers could have actually taken us into the woods, let alone anywhere, without one of our parents seeing. My mom and my cousin's moms were the 2 adults at home at the time. I've spoken to my mom about this multiple times. There's no church or anything nearby that we would have mistaken for a castle. I've even looked as an adult, no luck. All 3 of us remember this phenomena. Well, I'm 25 now, and it's been 20 years, so about 2003, and we've spoken about this at the age of 6, 8, 12, 15, etc. And essentially, every time we see each other, we all remember. Always have. I know some will chalk this off as a kid's imagination, but I swear to you, this was real. So my question is, what happened? Did we experience a glitch, a parallel universe, divine intervention, pure imagination, or something otherworldly? Or did 2 creeps try to take and kill us? And has anyone had anything like this happen? I've wanted answers for so long. There was no castle to begin with, like in real life. It doesn't exist. We've looked. I do feel as if what happened was spiritual. Maybe they were ghosts. I don't know. They both came into the front yard and approached us. They had kind of a mischievous smile and asked if we'd like to see a castle. I had a bad feeling in my gut, but also because I knew better than to follow strangers. With that being said, they also just seemed like kids at heart who were genuinely excited about their discovery of a castle and wanted to show somebody else. It seemed to us like it was new to them too. I remember we were skeptical and they kept reassuring us that it was real. Well, after we ran off, they didn't follow. I never saw them again. And they just stayed put at the castle and we ran home excitedly. What I already described, the castle, that's pretty much it. It didn't belong there. Like it truly felt as if we entered another realm of the universe. The place just reeked of heaven. As I said, the castle literally gleamed and shined. We got so excited, we just ran off and never could find it again. Also, we never were allowed outside by ourselves again. The only reason I don't believe it was a fantasy of some sort is that we all grew up together and played all the time. We never had an experience like this. This was one and only one-time thing. All our other experiences were normal kid stuff, hide and seek, riding bikes, video games, etc. Nothing like this. But yeah, I don't know. It's certainly always stuck with me because I have no clue what really happened. This was in Northwest Florida, no castles or anything close to it. A lot of churches, but none nearby that we could have mistaken for a castle, and I don't believe any castles existed at a prior time. Me and my cousin and aunt have all talked about it numerous times. No new details have ever come about. My cousin was the oldest by about 9 months. Oddly enough, he remembers it the least. My aunt and I remember it almost vividly, most vividly of the three. And I've even asked my mom multiple times throughout the years, and she doesn't remember the event happening at the time. Only through me talking to her about it so much, but she agrees that there's no way we could have actually left the front yard. This makes me believe the two teenagers were otherworldly or of some sort and gave us a glimpse into their dimension. I don't know, to be honest. Yeah, that's pretty intense. I mean, it's a child's memory, so it's tough to say that you can bank on that memory, but it has persisted for all these years, and the person still swears they saw a castle. So what does that mean? I don't know. It's one of another weird one-off kind of thing. It's like, what happened? What happened in this situation? And yeah, there shouldn't have been a gleaming castle in the north of Florida in 2003. No. Maybe the Magic Kingdom. Maybe there's a transference going on there where, they were actually at Disney and didn't know it, but I don't think they got dragged from North Florida to Orlando and then ran back. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's a strange thing. What do you think of stuff like that, Sheldon?
I don't know. It could be, but then why lead them there? Like, it's not like they just stumbled onto a portal, or something like that. They were led there.
Was it perhaps the Fae? Were they being lured?
Oh, that's a good thought, actually.
There are a lot of legends around kids being lured to a magical place and then not afforded to leave, but maybe they weren't far enough in to be stuck. Maybe they could just reverse course. That's the only thing that's occurred to me.
Did he say they went to the castle too? They visited the castle, or they just saw it?
It sounds like they mostly just saw it. It looked like it was right out of heaven, and they were so excited that they ran to tell the mom. So could it have been something like that? Like these mischievous teenagers. Well, the Fae were often considered very mischievous and tricking people and luring them into the forest for, whatever they do it for. I don't pretend to know, but could it have been that? And that's the only thing that occurs to me because, there's no castle there. So they were seeing something somewhere else. But what if it's the realm of the Fae? And I know that sounds really bizarre to some of you out there listening. It's like, oh, okay, there's fairies. Okay. But I think there are. I just remember that if there's a legend about something, there's something that it's based on. There's something that somebody experienced or several people experienced to base and become this legend. Now, they are certainly prone to exaggeration and retellings and errors and changing, the old game of telephone. But at the root of it, there's probably some phenomena that's going on out there where maybe kids are lured into places and can't get out. So just...
Wonder Woman says, is that a reference for songs and poems, including castles in the air?
Yeah.
Like the whole castle in the sky.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I've seen those pictures of people taking, and I don't know if they're doctored or whatever, but they seem to show these cities in the sky, like these, squared off skyline of buildings on top of a cloud. And it's like, if that's real, I don't know how that could be meteorologically possible because clouds are water vapor. How would they form right angles and all of that. That just doesn't stand to reason. That's just, I don't know. Avalon, Wonder Woman says.
The buildings are also made of clouds.
Yeah, well, they look like they're part of the clouds, but they look as if you got a glimpse into some other reality,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one, but I thought it was an interesting story just by the title, and I was like, we gotta share that, because those kind of things are kind of cool to ponder. I'm kind of steering towards Fae myself, like some kind of version of the Fae or some whatever the Fae are. Maybe they're extraterrestrial, we don't know, but they're these little, like these sometimes little, sometimes normal sized creatures that seemed kind of mischievous. And the legend goes that they lure people away, and the people, if they can be gone 20 minutes to this magical land and come out and it's 8 years later in their real world. So there's some kind of time dilation going on there. So
Yeah.
I don't know, just some food for thought, folks, but yeah, you're hearing it here nonetheless.
That's right.
Nonetheless, I think I got this right. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Got this.
Oh no, I just want to make sure I had the right display up, because I don't know. It's a cool story though. You don't hear stories like that very often. So I always enjoy those because they're quite a departure from a lot of the normal stuff that we do stumble across.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
now
It's
we're
kind of
gonna,
like almost a missing 411 case, like a possible almost missing 411,
yeah, what if? I mean, usually those people are, their bodies are found later, so it didn't end well, but sometimes they come back, and there's one who was an autistic boy, I think, and he wasn't verbal, but he was found miles and miles away from where he disappeared from over impossible terrain. And, where was he? What happened? Well, nobody knows, but he was recovered. Some of them are recovered alive, but most of the missing 411 stuff is kind of darker. They just kind of are either never found, or they find remains and they find like folded clothes and boots sitting.
Oh yeah.
Out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like really strange. Like, why would you do that? So I don't know. Very odd. But at any rate, that was the first up. I think we're going to go to the cryptid corner at this point and visit some Sasquatch Chronicles. All right. So we're going to go to Sasquatch Chronicles blog now, and we're going to visit a listener email that was written March. Well, Wes posted it on the 14th. So let's check it out. This is Strange Experience While Hunting. A listener writes, I'd like to share my encounter I had 7 years ago. I was deer hunting on public land, and I went to my spot, as I always go, into a certain area, and I sit in a hollowed out oak tree. And I usually never go into the woods before sunup, but on this particular day, no one was there, which was odd to me. So I said, I'm going to get in there, get to my spot before people start getting here. It was about 5:45 in the morning, and I start hearing what sounded like a baseball bat hitting a tree to my right about 50 yards or so. Well, then I heard a clicking sound, like a gorilla grunting about a minute later. I heard the same thing in front, but to the left of me. And it went on like that until the sun came up around 6:30-ish. And I never chambered around until shooting light, which is about 30 minutes before the sun up and 30 minutes after the sun down here in Missouri. But when I heard the second one chime in, that's when I put a round in and the safety off. I can't help but wonder if they use game trails to ambush their prey, and the tree knocks were to ask if the other one was ready for the hunt. I'd like to hear some clips of Bigfoot grunting to see if they're similar, if you have the time to point me in the right direction of some. Yeah, I don't think there's any question that they use game trails. I mean, they certainly want to be successful at hunting. That's, their whole survival depends on it. So, where would you hunt? Where the things are going to be walking, they would just hang out, wait. And they're exceptionally good at what they do. They are masters of their environment. You don't know they're there. They could be 5 feet from you in what seems like a sparsely wooded area. They are so good at hiding. So I don't think they would have any trouble just laying next to a game trail, and once a deer comes by, it's like, pow, done. Or
Yep,
or
over.
whatever. Yeah.
I mean, either that or just kind of hang around humans that are hunting.
Well, that's the other thing I think they do. I think that really makes perfect sense to me. It's like they know that if a deer gets shot, they can get to it and get out of there quicker than a person ever could, So I think they're just positioned around, and when they hear the gunshot, they're watching, and where they see it fall or run off to, they run faster and get to it. And again, I've got a family member who was hunting deer, and he hit one good, followed the blood trail, and it just stopped. Nothing there. No deer, no gut pile like somebody else came and took it, no drag marks where somebody might have dragged it off or an animal might have dragged it off. It was just gone. And there was no way it had any blood left to keep running. So something took it, and that's not far from where I was growled at when I was young. Only a couple, 3 miles away. So.
Oh, in that area.
Yeah, in that area. Not up on the bluff, but more over towards the cemetery area. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, down in that lowland, the creek area. So,
right. Okay.
Yep, true story. All right, so that was a good experience. Thanks to Wes. We're going to go to another one from Sasquatch Chronicles blog, and this is another listener email. And this one has to actually have to do with flying like a UFO. I don't know. Maybe we should cover another one with the Bigfoot instead of the UFO one. I'll cover that on one of the newses or something.
Okay.
Because I'm always looking for more material for the news. If you know of any strange news sites or anything like that, let me know. Email them to me at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. I'd appreciate it. So, March 15th is this one. Cabin located in the Mark Twain National Forest. A listener writes, my husband's a truck driver and I ride with him. Well, a few years ago, we went up to the nosebleed section of the U.S. I can't bring you a story of seeing Bigfoot. However, this is what my husband and I saw. It was dawn, and we were on I-94. Oh, I'm familiar with that. So are you, Sheldon.
Yeah. Yep.
Early morning traffic on one side of the road was bear curled up and looked to be sleep. Early morning traffic on one side of the road was a bear curled up and looked to be sleeping, which was strange to me with all the traffic going by. Quarter mile from the bear on the other side of the road were 2 dairy cows laying on the side of the road dead. Another quarter of a mile from the cows were 3 deer on the side of the road dead. None of the animals had any blood or looked as if they had been hit. No tire marks that I had noticed. My husband and I discussed how strange it was and continued on our way to unload. Well, we got unloaded, got reloaded, and we're headed out to the next delivery. We were on back to I-94 on a 2-lane highway traveling along the Mississippi River on Highway 61. I'm familiar with that. So are you, Sheldon.
Yep.
Just past Lake City, Minnesota. That's literally about 10 miles from where I was growled at. And
oh, my God.
Yeah, we saw a black, unmarked helicopter, blacked out windows. It looked like a 2-person helicopter with a cable hanging from it, and we could see what the cable was attached to. And at first, as we passed by, we were watching it in the mirrors, trying to figure out what it was trying to pull up from the banks of the river. It had a huge white bag attached to it. It looked like it was having issues pulling it up. About 20 or 30 minutes later, both my husband and I got a text on our phones from an unknown number, and all the text said was, "We need to speak with you." Oh, that's not creepy at all. What the hell?
No.
My husband and I just deleted the text and kept going. However, my husband and I started looking at a map from where the dead animals were and where we saw the helicopter, and it was about 60 miles across. I'm not sure what all that was, but something is strange about it. Yeah, you don't get an unknown text of 2 numbers saying they need to speak with you. Hell no. Just keep driving.
Yep.
So forward a few years, and we bought some property and decided to build a cabin located in the Mark Twain National Forest. We bought a shell of a cabin and were finishing the inside. We installed security cameras on the outside. Right after we installed them, we got deer, fox, coons, and all kinds of other animals in the first few weeks. Then suddenly, our cameras were triggered, but no animal or anything were in the cameras. Strange noise, tree breaks. were the only things we could hear but see nothing. Last summer, we walked around our property. Our lot is only about 100 feet by 200 feet, and we are building in a very small town in Missouri, and it's Iron Mountain Lake, Missouri. Oh, there's a footprint picture. Yikes. That's all the story, but that's a big foot.
Wow.
Or,
yeah.
I mean, if it is indeed a foot, I don't really see any toes, but it looks like it could be a foot impression, but I don't know what else it would be. It's funny that they must have pulled all the grass out of it if they found it, because, I mean, why would all the grass be missing from this impression?
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
true.
all around it. So unless it just scraped or dug that out first and then stepped in it, I don't know. But it's not extraordinarily definitive. There's a bit of a curve here, which may or may not be legitimate. I'm not sure what I'm looking at for sure, but it looks like it could be a print. Maybe this is the toes. So maybe they're going the same direction, but that's still kind of an odd arc on it. But maybe. Could be legitimate, but that's also... I don't know.
The weird thing is, why would you delete the text?
Well, I don't know.
I would keep it just for evidence, hey, this is it right here. Here's that text. But
yeah,
instead,
that's
why
true.
delete it?
That's a good point. I guess I hadn't even triggered on that since reading the story, but you're right.
Yeah,
I
would never delete that text.
You'd be saving it, sending it to the UFO groups. Hey, this was sent to
Yeah.
me. Random.
Yeah.
And it turns out some guy trying to sell you insurance.
Yeah, true.
We've received
to reach
notice
you,
your
but
car
you're
warranty is
probably
about to expire.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's not quite as Men in Black is what I was thinking. Here's another one from Sasquatch Chronicles blog, and this is from March 16th. It was on two legs for sure. A listener writes, I had an encounter back in 1996 in the Chocoloco management area located in the east central Alabama, which borders my property where I've lived since 1988. The encounter happened back in the fall of 1996 when I was squirrel hunting. I was a lot younger then, in my 40s, and loved to walk in the woods and hunt a lot. I had a Jeep CJ7 and I used to take it way off the main road to squirrel hunt. I had a place that was in a deep hollow with a branch running it about a quarter mile long, which is, what does it mean, a branch? With a branch of the hollow running it about a quarter mile long, which was located about 10 miles from my house. I'd park my Jeep at the top of this mountain and then go down the side of the mountain to a deep hollow, which had a branch running down it. And I would walk down the branch and then come out on the road, which paralleled the branch. One evening, it was almost dark when I was coming back up the road, and I could hear footsteps to my left just inside the trees, but never saw anything. Every time I would take a step, I would hear something walking, mimicking my steps, step for step. And that was when the hair on the back of my neck stood up. All I had was a 20-gauge shotgun with number 6 shot in it. I eventually took off in a dead run till I got to my Jeep and threw the gun in the back and hauled butt. I forgot to mention the screech owl I heard walking up the road back to my Jeep that I heard right before I started running. I don't know what I heard, but it was on two legs for sure. I never went back to that hunting spot. Yeah, getting shadowed has got to be. That's got to be a 10 on the suck factor for sure. Yikes.
But that's kind of a good case scenario, because if they really wanted you out of there, it's actually a good thing they're just shadowing you, kind of pushing you in that direction kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Instead of chasing you or physically getting you off the area. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's see, what time is it? We've got about 15 minutes left. I want to read this one. This one's kind of an odd one that I've had open for a while from Phantoms and Monsters, and it's kind of a mystery thing. It says, Taiwanese mother and daughter suddenly disappeared after exiting elevator. Still missing after 14 years. And that's a heartbreaker for sure, but I don't know what happened to them. You know, obviously you can be kind of sure that it's some kind of foul play, but is it supernatural foul play, or Is it more mundane, creepy stuff? I don't know. Let's see what it says, though. A Taiwanese mother and her young daughter suddenly disappeared without a trace in the Yaolin Financial Building in Zhanghua, Taiwan. After a decade, there have been no leads. There seems to be not a lot of material on this one. I was able to find an English source and a Vietnamese source. However, the English source took its information from another Vietnamese source, so we effectively have only Vietnamese sources. All sources are dated 2020. Perhaps the case resurfaced and multiple news sites just recycle each other's articles. The pictures do collaborate to make the story seem legit enough. The source of the pictures is cited to be from ET Today, a Taiwanese newspaper. And since I don't know Chinese, I can't really say much about the authenticity of this newspaper. If anyone can find any more information on the case, please share. On January 20th, 2008, a mysterious case of a missing person in Taiwan. A 37-year-old woman named Liu and her 4-year-old daughter went to the Yaolin Financial Building in Zhanghua, Taiwan. They both entered the elevator of the building, only to be never seen again. The disappearance appears to be big news in Taiwan. According to the testimony of the building manager, it was late at night, and the woman appeared to be confused. Both the mother and the daughter were wearing red jackets. The manager was suspicious and didn't want to let them enter the building. However, the woman said she came looking for a friend and quickly went to the elevator with her daughter. The next morning, the manager did not see the two leave the building. Suspecting Miss Liu went to the building to commit suicide. He checked the cameras in the building, and according to the camera footage, Miss Liu entered the elevator looking very frightened and nervous. When the elevator doors shut, the woman suddenly removed the red jackets that she and her daughter were wearing and even took off their shoes. The woman then dashed out of the elevator with her daughter and went out of sight of the camera. Aww. The manager suspects Miss Liu wanted to jump off the building to commit self-ending since she took off her shoes. However, the fact that she took off the jackets as well was puzzling, so the man called the police. After reviewing the footage of the camera, the police believed there was a high chance that the two self-ended. So they immediately conducted a search around the building, and dozens of officers were mobilized, but there was no trace of the two missing people or any evidence, related evidence. The police also asked anyone who entered and exited the building, yet no one saw Mrs. Liu or her daughter, or Miss Liu or her daughter. It was also possible that Miss Liu changed her mind and decided to self-end by hanging or cutting her wrists, so the police widened the search of the inside of the building as well. They even checked the water tank and the water pipes, yet still no trace of the two was found. There's the discarded jackets and the shoes. After the news went out, a man who claimed to be Miss Liu's husband contacted the police. The man said they had 4 children together and had been separated for a year. Miss Liu was raising the 4 children while the husband was paying for child support. When she left home, Miss Liu said to her older daughter, who was in the 6th grade at the time, that she was taking the youngest daughter, the one that appeared in the camera footage, to the place of a relative for a few days. With little to go on, the missing case was closed after 10 years. 10 years later, Miss Liu's oldest daughter, once again, spoke in front of the media, and she said that her mother was a very religious person. Well, this sparked some theories of the supernatural, since the Taiwanese people believe that the color red attracts ghosts and spirits. The two of them wearing red in the middle of the night was certainly an intriguing detail, since then, the building has become famous. Some local residents said that the building brings bad luck, since no business has been able to thrive there. Wow. So there's a couple of sources here, but that's pretty freaky, right? That's so tragic. Huh.
What do you... what happened? What could
I don't
have
know.
happened?
I don't know. That's really, really weird. I mean, you can speculate all day long. Foul play. Was it someone in the building that was supposed to take them in and did something else and then covered the evidence? I don't know. That's I mean, there's broken people everywhere, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's so tragic though. My God. Ugh. Maybe not the best note to finish the show on, but
Yeah. Wow. What a story to end on.
well, it is unknown. I mean, there's no, maybe they went to the castle. I don't know. Maybe the
fairy
castle
saved
appeared
them.
for them, Sheldon.
Yes.
We'll say
The fairy
that.
saved them. Yep, that's
They-
what happened. They went to the
They
castle.
went to the
and they're
castle and they're happy ever after. The end.
the queen and princess. Yep, they ruled.
Yep. They brought him in and took care of him. The end. Okay.
That's the story for now, guys.
That's the story we're giving you because that's about all the fiction I can build into it. I don't know, folks. It's hard to say, but I do know that we're at the tail end of our journey tonight. Wow.
Yep.
Woo-wee. We got about 10
Okay.
minutes left. I saw Wonder Woman posted something about being quiet and seeing if we can ask for a name to come through, but I just don't trust in the word generator on this at all. I think something is triggering words to get generated, but I don't think the words are necessarily relevant. I mean, oatmeal. What the hell does that have to do with anything? You know, we're talking about the paranormal here and it spits out oatmeal. And then these random dates, the future came up earlier. I guess if we scrolled up, we could see everything. Where the hell's my mouse? There it is. If we scroll up, we can see the first thing that came through was 1574. There was a couple spirits popping in and out allegedly. Then future came, and then oatmeal. So 1754 or 1574, future oatmeal. Let's break that down, folks. What do you think it is? Quick talk about Teesprings. Lighten it up. Yeah. Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. What were you going to say, Sheldon?
Oh, just a quick question. I'm curious about. I've always asked you, like, the most terrifying cryptid to ever face, the most terrifying, cryptid that you could think that to encounter, type of thing. But what about paranormal, non-encrypted thing? What do you think would be the most
What do
terrifying non-cryptid thing? Yeah, just paranormal. Or
I
ghostly.
think
type
it's
of thing.
a demon, personally. I mean, there's just the thing with things like that are so dark, and they're so hell bent on the destruction of anything good. It's like there's such a corruption of the soul in those things, and so much hate, and so much anger and rage that they have nothing but time, and they could sit and watch you for an entire lifetime waiting for you to get weak, and then move in and destroy you. And destroy the things around you. I mean, these are just an angry thing, whatever they are, and it's horrible. And I think to me, that would be the worst. Would be to, become the target of something like that. Now, I will say that I think that, there's definite ways to protect yourself, and there's certainly redemption and prayer and religion and energy and many modalities to protect yourself against dark things. But I think any kind of spirit that can possess and take over somebody is absolutely frightening, because you have only your will to resist. And if they spend years or decades or whatever wearing you down, I mean, a lot of people wouldn't stand a chance, I don't think, And so that's to me, I think, what would be the most frightening. Not that I'm afraid of it, but I'm certainly cautious of dark things. Like I would never toy with anything that was dark. I would never prompt or encourage any kind of contact with anything that was dark. Now, that's the risk with things like, paranormal investigating, because you're really kind of walking in and blindly poking a hornet's nest. You don't know if it's good hornets or bad hornets. You don't know. I think that demons are also incredibly good at disguising their presence. I don't think that... and I did a TikTok about this. If you look at my TikTok, I did a little talk about the problem with demons, or and the word demon gets overused a lot in the paranormal. It really does. It's like And I think honestly what it is that it's like paranormal street cred. Well, we dealt with this haunting. Oh yeah, well, we were over at the Smith house and dealt with a demon. Well, really? That's like saying that you slapped a Hell's Angel biker or something. It's like, what? Really? That's not, and it's fantastical sounding, but
Yeah.
But I think that, people misuse the amount. I don't think there's that many demons everywhere and anywhere. I think that they are around, and I think that they are obviously best avoided, or best not allowed into your space. But there's nothing a demon wants to do to broadcast its presence. It wants to take you over. It wants to destroy you, destroy what it is you are, and or take you over completely. And whether it's a possessing spirit or whatever. And so they don't wear banners like, "Hey, I'm a demon coming in to take your soul, gonna take your body too." They don't want you to know. So they start with oppression. They start with this weird, twisted psychology that they wear people down. It's like standing in a storm cloud and you just can't get in the sunshine no matter what you do. You're just surrounded and engulfed by this darkness. And it's such a hopeless feeling, and such a tormenting feeling. And it's a war of attrition. They just wear people down. But they don't want you to know they're there, because if you know it's there and you know it's a demon, then you can fight. You can resist. You can make measures to do that. But if you just think, why am I always so upset? Why am I feeling so sad all the time? Then it's subtle. And it feels like, like a depression or something wrong with your brain or something like that. So you own it. But if you knew it was a demon, you could just, I'm going to, get an exorcism. I'm going to, frankincense. I'm going to use all kinds of modalities to clear it. But they don't want you to know. They don't want you to fight. They want to wear you down until you can't fight. So, yeah. That's my take.
The kind of silent killer of your personality type of thing.
Yeah. It's just so horribly twisted, and these are also things that I don't think I would love to think that there was some kind of redemption even for them, but I don't know what it is, because they're so twisted by anger and hate that it's like talking to somebody who's a serial killer. You're probably not going to rehabilitate them. You're probably not going to be able to. And that's sad and tragic and horrible. But, think of that kind of mentality times 10 or 100 or 1,000 or, and these are ancient things. They've been around forever. So all they have is time. So
yeah,
that's my take on that. So in closing, as per Maggie's suggestion, I just want to say, if you want to help support the show, and you're looking for some really cool shirts or gear, head over to teespring.com. The link is in the description of this video, and you can head over to Teespring and get yourself one of these fine Paranormal Portal apparel or objects. We got t-shirts, we got long sleeve shirts, we got hoodies, we got mugs, mug like this or a mug like this, stickers, other t-shirts, masks, more t-shirts, sticker, and lots of different stuff here. So if you want to get some of this fine gear and be sporting the greatest name in all of the paranormal, then by God, we would love for you to get one of our t-shirts or some memento. So we'd love your support. And please, I know that things are tight for a lot of us. So whenever I bring up things like this, just understand that I'm not trying to, really encourage people to spend money they don't have. There's lots of ways to support what we're doing here. One way is just to let people know that are into the paranormal, know about the Paranormal Portal, whether it's the YouTube show or the podcast or both. Another way is just being here like you guys are, hitting the likes, and commenting if you're watching when it's not live. Those go a long way to help support the show and make the algorithm say, hey, there's interaction going on here. We should probably let other people know. And so it gets suggested much more commonly. So if you're ever watching the videos and it's not live, just a quick comment like, hey, really enjoyed it, thanks, or just hi. just a quick comment. That means a lot and it helps out a ton. So there's lots of ways to support what we're doing. Feel free to share any of these videos to your social media. Share any of the podcast videos that are posted on YouTube to your social media as well, or go to Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Google Play, Castbox, Stitcher, Podbean, etc. There's so many different platforms that have the Paranormal Portal podcast. So we love your support, and that would really mean the world. So thank you all so much for being a part of the journey. We made it right to 9 o'clock. How about that, Sheldon?
Wow. Perfect timing. Wow.
Perfect timing.
Nice.
Yep. So anyway, anything in closing, Sheldon?
That's right. Right in the chat. It's posting right now. You can join the Discord and all of our lovely channels. Got some actually suggestions tonight from Rachel and some other chatters asking for a paranormal library for any recommendations for books and other literature to others, as well as paranormal movies and TV section. If you guys want to do some TV talk, some really good scary movies, shows, whatever you want to are interested in watching. So got two more text channels for the Discord. But aside from that, we have paranormalportal.net, which I'm going to post right in the chat right now. It's kind of the home base for the Paranormal Portal that Dad's handling, and keep an eye on keeping things updated on there, so keeping you guys more updated. Having a little countdown on there. I'm not actually seeing it on the website anymore.
No,
but
I have to reset it after every show, and then it'll appear again. So,
all right, perfect. And then, oh yeah, okay. And then also, if you need a way to contact Ed, there's contact information on there, as well as interview me button right on the website. So if you have some stories or anything you want to share with Dad and have an interview with, even for a chance to be on the podcast or any of the other shows, go ahead. That'll be your portal to do that.
Outstanding.
So cheeky.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight, guys. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of the journey. Remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, please. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. We'll be back next Wednesday. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday are the live shows here on YouTube. Love to have you come in and be a part of it. Spread the word. Let other people know. It's always good to bring friends. So anyway, that's it for us. Have a great night. And until Wednesday, you guys be good. Watch for the new podcast episode releasing on Monday. So if you miss it, then you can always find it here on YouTube by looking at our main page, youtube.com/paranormalportal, and you'll see a playlist that says podcast episodes. And those are the actual podcast of season 4. The most current episodes are being posted. So love to have you find it and check them out. And if you like it, go back and listen to the other 3 seasons. There's over 300 episodes out there on all the major platforms like Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, etc. So, all right, guys, that's it. We got it all nailed out, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Hope you guys are here, and take care. Next Saturday, I don't know if we're going to have a show. I got an out-of-town thing going on for the screening of a Bigfoot video that's happening in a community near here, but I'll let you know, Sheldon, for sure, and I'll let all of you know for sure. Judging from the timeline, I think it's going to be a tight squeeze to get back here and do a normal show, but we may end up doing one, but later. We'll see. Maybe an hour later or something. We'll see what's going on. But anyway, guys, take care. We'll talk to you next time, Wednesday. We'll see you then, 7 p.m. Pacific time, always on YouTube, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Good night, everybody.
See you later.